You. Microphone, do you have speakers?
Yeah,
Which ones?
right there, LGTV.
Volume up? I don't know which one's volume.
I never used this. I got the one up.
What's going on?
It did, but what happened to them?
They're gonna say, it shouldn't say town of Barnstead, you should be seeing some, put it,
For what? I tried.
so the people that are on, who's HP.
I was showing them.
No, they're gonna say they're having a problem again. I don't get it, I'm not on either at all.
On. hear anybody. Can you find out what's wrong?
I'm gonna comment on that.
I think you did a terrific job. Want to let you know. You guys really did a nice job.
The other thing, the future of the FEMA grant, Chief Mulcahy was actually the grant writer, and he was actually, that was delegated to him. We are in the process now of trying to retrieve that information and take over the status of the grant. So that's all we can tell you right now. And that's the grant concerning the ladder pumper truck.
Mhm.
So as soon as we do hear something, the board will be notified.
Okay.
So that's all we can tell you. A couple of concerns is the increasing cost of propane and fuel for the apparatus. We've been trying to reduce anytime we don't need to run apparatus or do anything unnecessary, which we really don't, just to keep the cost down on the fuel. And also propane, we have two large buildings we have to heat. I brought to the attention to the town manager about the propane bidding price, and about 3 weeks ago, I brought that to your attention. So just want to make sure we're all on the same page here. We don't wait till the last minute. Some of the improvements that we do need at the stations, if you were at Station 1, we didn't really use the lights much for the funeral or the wake. But it's the old style ballast system. We've been talking about replacing that with LEDs, not only to conserve energy, but also we really don't want to invest in trying to fix those lights. Between having an electrician go over there, get the lights fixed, bulbs, it's not worth it. So that's something we're going to need. And we're also going to have to look at the boiler over there. It's almost at its life right now. So that's something we're going to have to look at. And also the boiler at Station 2 here, we're going to have to think about. So these are just some of the projects that I didn't want them to pop up and nobody says.
Well, we should have money to do the lights this year, because I think we talked about it last year, right? I think you put something in your, a line item for that.
Yeah, in the town hall and building account. We'll just have to watch it because the project for the library, the upgrade on the library came out of that fund as well. But
Right.
we're aware, and as the chief stated, the electrician was over there. So he's given us a suggestion
Oh,
for
okay.
lighting as well.
All right.
Right now, is it the ballast and the,
A lot of the ballasts are burnt out. We actually had Bob Charity over there the day of the wake that morning, just so we wouldn't hear the humming noise. Whatever he
yeah,
did.
'cause I think what the switch over to the LEDs, like, I want to say a total like 200, 300 per section, I think, isn't it?
I have no
Yeah,
idea.
I'd be
I don't know.
surprised to see that.
I just know that
Maybe
instead of
less.
throwing money into new ballasts and light bulbs and everything, we should just go with the LEDs and
Well, we could upgrade these and give you these ones.
whatever you'd like, Selectmen, whatever you'd like.
I'm just kidding with you.
They're the ones that go in the ceiling panels, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because we just replaced, we went to
Yeah.
LED and the difference is
Mhm.
night and day, but it was not
It wasn't
hugely
big
expensive.
money.
We did, and yes.
And number 7, I'd like to meet with the board in the near future, probably the end of August, September. My contract does run out December 31st, so I'd like to speak to the board about that. And the last on the list is, do we have a new pay matrix in town for fire and police? That's something we can get a copy of.
It's the matrix that you have a copy of that we updated last year.
Okay,
We're gonna be working on towards the end of the year for the new budget. Yeah.
that's all we have. Oh, yeah, sorry. Oh, yes.
Trying to learn how to do grants, but we've never been very active in the grant part. Morris and Nance came to us last week with this simple grant that they sponsored called the DFA grant. With $500 and then that's $25. $5,000 worth. You have some holes that's been burned up in the place. Glasses.
It's a 50-50 match.
Not in the budget.
It is
Um,
not in our budget.
But we can find it.
Well, we're gonna be very cautious with the increase in fuel
And-
and
right.
gas.
Any extra spending?
We're just into July. So I don't know where we're gonna end up, how soon, what's the deadline that you'd have to apply for this, Will? By the end of this month. And I'm sure we can use some of the ARPA funding if it's for equipment for your department, so.
I mean, how much are you thinking? You said you're not gonna need the 5,000, so
It's really good. My brain just called me today to start the total prices. I'm thinking maybe fill the grant up 2,000, 1,000 from them, and 1,000 from us. At least this year, that would get me familiar with it, and I can make a wish list for next year.
Yes. We have money.
Yep, I heard that. Yeah, I'm just talking about some portable forestry equipment. Hose and safety glasses.
sounds like you may even be able to find a line item in your existing
So-
budget.
I'll make a motion that we authorize you to do matching grants up to 2,000, 1,000 for the town, 1,000 for the grant.
I'll second it. Paula?
Yes.
Yes.
Ed?
Thank you. And one other thing is that we did apply for a grant. There's no money to the town at all. We just received it. It was for 10 life jackets. It was a grant through Children's Hospital at Dartmouth, so Chad. And basically, I got it, I think it was during last week. He said, you're awarded the grants, come pick up your life jacket. So I picked them up today. They're different sizes from infants to grown adults. So we have 5 or 6 different water bodies in town. So it's for anybody that wants to go paddling or anything that doesn't have a life jacket. If you're a town resident or anything, and you need a life jacket, come to the firehouse. It's a loaner program. So we actually have them numbered. We're going to ask the people, you can use them for the season. When you're done, please return them. And then we'll reissue them next year. It's something new this year. I think we're one out of how many fire departments that were selected. They only selected 10 fire departments. So we're honored to do that. There was no cost to anything. The only cost it was for me to go pick them up and come back and Concord this morning.
Excellent.
So, and you'll see it on Facebook and you'll see it on the community page and the fire department page. So, I mean, we only have probably half the summer now. So if you know anybody that can go paddling, they don't have a jacket or the appropriate size jacket for an infant or a child, and we do have some. First come, first serve.
How many did you say you had?
10,
10?
Various sizes.
yes.
That's great. Great program.
Yeah, we did. We have Jim Coppin working on it today.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion to accept the minutes? Everybody, has anybody read them? No, table them?
Move it to the-
Okay. We signed a payroll manifest. We're in the process of doing that. Dog warrant. There's quite a list too, for those people that haven't paid their doggy licenses yet. You want to get right out there and get it done.
To be an honest master. I'll make a motion for the chair to sign the registration for the international truck.
Second. Get a second? Second. Discussion, no? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ed? Same? Aye. Electric co-op letter, is that different than the one we got from?
It was
From,
just asking
Eversource?
for support. No, this was the letter asking for support for them to go forward with supplying internet. I believe.
I didn't even see that.
It was
Yeah,
in
I
there
saw
last week and only one person had signed it.
Oh, okay.
Be in the folder.
And I didn't see what this designated public area was about.
So maybe Paula could speak to this. It's been brought to our attention that municipalities, public places should have, the board should designate a public area in case you have people that may want to come in and videotape residents, customers that might come in. We have, you may have noticed signs on our doors in two our separate offices that say employees only. But some towns have had people that come in and just want to sit and they can video people coming in and out. So we need to designate an area in case that should happen here.
So what, like something around the town hall here,
Someone,
outside?
I would suggest lobby, but Paul,
Yeah,
I can.
they have the right to be in earshot of what the business that's conducted in the public area. So, but what they don't have the right to is if, say, you're standing at the window registering your car or something like that, they don't have the right to be close enough to be able to see or hear your personal information, date of birth, social security card, anything that's not
Mhm.
public information. So there's usually an increase in this kind of activity around election time. And that's usually what it's geared towards, at least in the experience that I've dealt with it in. And so there's been recommendation that you have an area. Our area in there is pretty small.
That's what I was gonna
It's
say.
pretty small, so it would be probably like in the corner in there, so they're not so close to the clerk's window that they can see anything that they don't have right to access to, but they can see in video the public
Business being
goings on.
conducted.
I mean, I've had people sit in my office all day and do it.
And then
It's-
what, make another one for out here or something? Because the election, obviously, you're not
Well,
gonna be able
right,
to get
that's-
anything
this
out
is
there.
Just on it, because there's no activity, no business going on out here during a regular business
Right.
day, you know, so at election time, that's all different. They have different procedures for that. The election is open, people can come in and go. They can't be behind the guardrail.
Right.
But they're allowed to see, you know, and hear certain things.
Have we had a problem with this in the past?
No, one of the employees attended a workshop and this has been happening in various places throughout the
Right.
state. So we thought we would just get ahead of the game and designate one. So if people come in, they will ask to see the minutes where the board actually voted to designate a place. And then that limits them to that spot. So
Okay, so do we have to rope it off and stuff, or can we just
No.
put some signs up that indicate
Yeah,
this
but
is
when
the,
they come in, you know,
This is the
someone
available
can
area.
just, Karen probably would be the best. They can just, this is the area that you are able to be to do what you.
Designated one?
Yeah.
Well,
Yes, so if
You're
the
probably
board-
gonna have to put some kind of sign out there though, right? You just can't just say, okay, that's the
could.
designated area over there.
We could put,
You could.
Well, I think it's a balance though, because you want the town to be fully transparent, so people have the ability to see what goes on with town transacted business during the day and to see what's happening, but also people have a right to privacy
yes,
when they're conducting their town business. So it's a area that you have to, compromise for the best of both worlds. Because you don't want to deprive a citizen of coming in to see town business going on. So, as you said, with it being so small here.
right. I
kind
would
of-
definitely say the lobby and as far back as to retain privacy. Now, some days we have lines out the door.
Right.
So that's why I wouldn't designate just one spot because it could be totally crowded. But definitely lobby and as far back to allow privacy. And then I think that would cover it. If the lines are out the door, well, there isn't any privacy there. They'd have to wait until maybe the lobby would
I
allow
think they're all-
for them to be in that area.
Yeah, 'cause
All right,
back in the day, they used to have the table that had,
Right,
with
we
book
don't-
on it, and that chair was in the corner, that would be a spot, because obviously you're not right next to the person conducting business up at the window, but you can still, see what's going on. So,
that was
might be the spot.
designated lot map area. All right, so I
It's
I
just
need a
easier
motion
if
or something.
Here, then
If
they
you're-
Well, I
come
think
in and they, that's all
maybe we
free.
can have Karen talk with the other office employees and come up with a place that you think is appropriate.
I think for right now that tonight you could just say in the lobby near the map, under the town map.
How about with the 6 foot distancing that is still supposed to be out there, so 6 feet away from any, and it's small enough.
Well, I
That
barely,
would be that corner.
Okay, and 6 feet away from any.
could open a window.
Lobby.
let them look in.
Okay, if someone wants to, yeah,
You got a question, chief?
make a motion.
Make a comment if you want.
Right, the workshop that was attended, it was put on by an attorney for municipalities. And that's why they came back and said, you should designate an area, because if you don't, and we did not have signs that said employees only. And if someone had come in before those signs were put up, we could not have kept them from coming into our office. So,
All right. Okay.
well, but we also
right,
have a
let-
debt to, but let me just put this out there. We have a debt to our customers. And if you don't have a designated place, then someone can come in with a camera, stand right next to a customer who's maybe has their driver's license out, and they can video that, and they shouldn't be able to do that.
But if-
So a
But
designated
if that
area-
was me, I would turn around and say, take your camera away from
Well,
my
yes.
private identification
And
and shut it
then-
off now.
And then
Wanna
we'll
move
end
on.
up calling the police. We're aware of these issues that could arise, but if we have something in the minutes that say this is the designated area, they have to follow that. So, and that was the advice of the attorneys that. were
There's
at-
space for them over in the far corner.
Yes,
Yeah, but what's
That's the area.
what's the
That's it.
measurement of the area though? That's what I mean. That's if you.
And you
get
can see the
exact
counters,
measurement, you know
And you
what I
can
mean?
see the countertops from over there. I mean, No, it's not really far enough away.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are, so if we don't have something in writing that the board designated, then they can go all over that lobby. Then they can get as close to people as they want. So
So what is your footage? Because you haven't given how many feet away from each counter. That's what I'm saying that you need to be. You need to, how much counter you have to be 6 feet away from. We have to be 6 feet away from from, where Mary Jane is, that area. So you need to either, tape off an area and say, this is where you go, but right now, we don't have measurements, and I think we need to see that. That's my opinion. I think I would need to see, and they would need to see where the heck it would be. So is it that corner? Are you gonna put a chair there and say, this is the area, that's the only
you
place that
don't
they can
have to
go?
supply a chair.
I
now.
understand that, but you need to put a zone. There has to be a zone, there has to be something that says.
Typically, when these people come in, they will ask, where's the designated area? We can show them this is the designated area. They will ask where are the minutes that say this is the designated area. And so then you show them the minutes.
So how are you going to show them?
So
exactly
if
where
you
the
say
designated
in
area
the
is?
vote on
lobby,
this.
if you say in the lobby, in the corner, under the map,
Only broke it off.
I mean, you can rope it off. They
And-
have
but
to.
that's what I mean. You have to give that area.
And again, Paula, are there any roped off areas at the Secretary of State's office or?
No, I mean, our office space is a little bigger than
Right.
this, but we do, we also conduct business that, has personal information for people. So they, we say, you can stand over here and do that. And they do it from over there.
If, just a suggestion, it's entirely up to the board, but if you at least said in the lobby, 6 feet away from a customer. I mean, at least that's something, and then if you have to look at it next week, if something else comes up, it doesn't work, at least you have something in place. I can go back and take measurements if you'd rather wait.
Supposed to be able to be within here.
The public are
Site.
not out here. No, they don't come in here anymore. We're back to the original entry exit, the same door. This door is locked now, so no one is back here during the day.
You're gonna be tight fittings. I almost think that we should make a motion to designate an area with the intent of defining it later, or we can say in the lobby, in the corner of the lobby, or something like that. But I have a
Within
feeling
6
that
feet away from both windows.
We can, agree, we can make the motion that we're going to designate an area, but I don't think we want to put it off too long.
Too long,
Because we're
right.
getting closer and closer to
Oh,
that
right,
season.
Right. You're not gonna meet for 2 weeks.
all right. Anybody want to make one? You want to make one?
So I'll make a motion that we put a determined area to be determined very quickly for designated area for public viewing of in the corner of the lobby. Minimum, I mean, if we can't do 6 feet, you can at least do like 3 to 4 feet away.
Oh,
Why don't we do 4 feet? Oh, it is, okay. All right, so if you put that little square right around where the chair is, you just
Okay.
take the chair out.
okay.
Yeah, we don't want to give,
Is this
That's
gonna
my
affect,
suggestion.
is this gonna affect the addition on town hall? Are they gonna need showers and everything?
Telling you.
The showers and a kitchen area needed next? What is this gonna do?
Like to have him arrested for trespassing.
And he doesn't have to record. He can just stand there and watch.
What can we do so that ourselves?
Right, all right, so and we'll get clarification for you.
Did I get a second on that?
I'll second it.
Whatever it is.
Any more
It's-
discussion?
It's the area that.
Any more
we're Jared.
discussion?
No, okay.
Paula,
Yes.
Diane,
Yeah.
Gary?
Yep.
Aye. Whoa, I didn't expect that to go there. but-
Hey, we got that taken.
All right. We put out a notice to bid on the Humvee. We only got one response. We did put a minimum bid on it for $5,000. Does the board want to close this at this time and accept the bid, or? I don't think we put, did you put a deadline
Yeah,
on
it's
that
at
at all?
4 o'clock today, the bid set. the
Oh,
bid is
okay,
in now.
well. So be it. Wonder who it's from.
Not to sell in your yard sale?
He's such a generous guy.
Uh-oh.
I, Vincent Lapoli, Senior, offer a bid in the amount of $7,733.33 for the used 2008 in General M998 Humvee diesel, color blue with mileage noted 913. I requested all monies over. I request that all monies over the required minimum bid of $5,000 be directly donated to the Barnstead, New Hampshire Police Department ice cream truck program. I don't know if, yeah, I don't know if we can do that. Can we do that? I mean, we have to accept the bid for the sale.
Yeah.
So what was
I
the
think we
amount
have to admit, we have to accept the bid for the sale,
Right.
but do they get to put conditions in the bid? is
I
the
don't think
question.
they do.
Well, I
Well, maybe
think
we should
this
find out.
board already voted to take $1,500 out of the proceeds to put as seed money for the ice cream program. We have a motion that was passed back when October or November
I believe you're right.
2021.
I believe we did do that. It still doesn't cover it, but
So what was the amount?
In touch with the attorney.
It doesn't cover what?
we're gonna have to get back to you on that one, Chief, but, yeah, I can read it. It says, I, Vincent Lapoli, Senior, offer a bid in the amount of $7,733.33 for the used 2008 Humvee diesel, color blue mileage. I request that all monies over the required minimum bid of $5,000 be directly donated to the Barnstead, New Hampshire Police Department ice cream truck program. Problem is, I don't know if we can accept that. You know, we accepted a bid.
Right.
It met the minimum requirements, but I don't know if he has the ability to designate the remaining balance of the funds.
We gotta find out if we can or.
Well, you're already gonna get 1,500 out of it anyways.
Karen, can you find out from the attorney if we
yeah.
are allowed, if he's allowed to request, or also in turn, are we allowed to do that if we agree to?
So I will make a motion to accept the bid of $7,733.
33,
33 cents
yep.
for the 2008 Humvee. For
Can I get a-
all other information, read.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Ed? In favor? I'm in favor. Ed, whatever your name is, Gary?
Did he just call him
You in favor of this? To
We're
accept
accepting
the bid?
For what it is.
Correct.
We'll find out the rest.
Right.
Yes.
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 Okay. Will be
And
it.
then Karen, you can pull the minutes where we took the vote for the seed money for the 1,500 back.
1,500.
I think it was in November or December. Okay. And that condition was be selling. That's good. Do we have any more Humvees that we need to sell?
Right? Well, I'm glad we did the minimum bid thing,
Yeah.
you know, because we would have had probably 400 offers on it, all with 200, 300, 400, whatever. Primex Premium Holiday Refund. I don't have the exact numbers, but we're expecting some refund checks real soon here, right?
17, yes, we got a refund from our insurance companies. Always nice. The total is $17,393.52. It's going to revenues to offset your tax rate.
Nice. Okay. Let us know when you get that.
We got it.
Oh, we got it already?
Yes. Yep, we got it yesterday.
Um, Okay. The fund accounts. I had requested to see some of the donated fund accounts, the statements from it. And I didn't find anything wrong, but I found some concerns that I thought that the board should be, you know, should discuss. There's quite a few of these accounts. We got, you know, I think there's 4 at the police department, there's 2 at the fire department, there's Parks and Rec has at least 1, working on 2 probably. Conservation Committee, but they're pretty much separate. But what I found is that we don't really see what goes into those accounts or what gets taken out unless we request to see the statements. Otherwise, we don't even know about it, pretty much. And that kind of concerns me because we are responsible for every dime that comes into this town and every dime that goes out of this town, whether it's donated or whether it's taxes or whatever. And currently, we don't see any of it. So it seems to me that this should be part of our weekly review, if you want to call it that, or approval of our accounts. Just like the manifest is. We go through the manifest. See something we don't like, we question it, we get to question
So
it,
you're
we get to
talking
do
about
whatever.
if invoices are being paid
Right.
against that.
Well, it's not just that, it's what's coming into it. You know, we have no idea what's in the account at any particular time. We have no idea who's donated to the accounts. We have no idea what the monies are being used for or when they're being used.
I
And
think
that
the
seems,
treasurer usually handles that, but I think we run into an issue of that is a lot of times if people know what bank it's located at, sometimes they can mail the check directly to the bank.
I don't think so.
That's what was happening with, I think, one of the Parks and Recs accounts from a few years ago.
Well,
They
even
had
if they
that
do,
mailing
we
it.
still should know about it, regardless.
How would we know about it? other
We
than
get the statements
statement?
every month.
The checks, to do things correctly, I believe good business practice. Checks that come into the town of Barnstead. They may be subtitled by the police department, Parks and Rec, what it's for. Ice cream truck, fire apparatus, Parks and Rec, mulch, whatever. But I think they should come into the town of Barnstead. We're responsible for. We should see them and accept them. With whatever account they come to. Then where they're going to be taken out, we should see that and approve that also. I think that's the right way to do it.
Karen, what's the process right now?
So the process right now is every account has a separate folder if you will, notebook, accounting area, all locked up under lock and key. Any donations that come in are deposited into that account. All copies of all deposits are put in that notebook. So each of the accounts have a separate notebook. I know, Rick, you came in, so it shows all the expenditures, all the donations, who donated, copies of every check. And then if someone requests a check out of that to purchase something, let's say the ice cream truck, that the board said, I know, Chief, you've come before the board and said, I need to buy paint, or we need to do X, Y, Z. And so the board has said yes. So he either provides an invoice, or if he has to pay out of pocket, he then, of course, gives us copies of the invoices. Copies are made of the invoices, and we write the checks out of that account. And of course, the treasurer approves it and signs. So your treasurer now is Hillary Henry. So she is aware of all this. It's not just that checks can be written. Anytime anybody wants an account of each of these separate accounts, they can just come in and look at the folders. You
But it
get,
also does not mingle town money with donated money, which I think is the whole key of why you want the separate accounts. That's the whole reason that the treasurer opened up specific accounts for contributions.
Right.
Right.
And because it can get very murky if you have everything come in, like, as you said, to the town of Barnstead, if it's made out to the town of Barnstead instead of what the specific bank account is called.
and
Because you don't want to mingle the two funds. They're
And
two very separate
every
things.
account is on the general ledger. Every account that the town of Barnstead has. So on your monthly, the monthly general ledger will show every bank account the town has, every separate account for every department.
It's in the annual report as well, correct?
It is, the treasurer puts in a yearly report. It shows all the expenditures, all the donations. But if you want a day-to-day, if you want to see the names of the people who have donated, certainly, it's open for you in general ledger.
But see, the thing is we shouldn't have to go looking for it.
No, you'll
We
have
we
it
should
on.
not have to request it. We
Yep.
shouldn't have to, look through a bunch of paperwork or folders or anything else. We should already know this. We
Right.
should already see it on a regular basis.
Well, and the general ledger, Lisa, I'll have her print out the general ledger if you want it weekly. Like I said, it lists every account. You'll see any expenditure. And then if you have a specific question, if you say who donated $30, that's when we'll open it up and show you the person that.
But can't we just
Yeah.
eliminate all that by doing it as it happens? I mean, instead of going back and looking for certain things, we can just keep, a folder of records every week or 2 weeks or whatever, whenever we do the manifest, Is there any transactions on this account? Has anything gone in? Has anything gone out?
We
I
can,
mean,
we can
it can be a regular
absolutely,
thing. That
I
way
mean,
we
we
don't
can
have
do
to do
that.
that.
but it also has to follow all the other process of having copies made and taking it to the bank. So I guess every week, if anything comes in on any of these other accounts, like today, Parks and Rec for their swimming lessons, they brought in
Right.
all the money that's collected, and then we make copies of that. We put it in their account, then take the actual monies and checks and take it to the bank. Because they're then, they'll write checks against it. But yeah, so I can, I guess,
I mean, who's
not that I
responsible?
want to keep cash around, for you,
Well, I don't
everybody
think-
to look
I
at.
think-
We want to get it to the
Well,
bank.
No,
to the
no,
treasurer.
I wouldn't do
I
that
don't
either.
think you can keep money or what in here, there's a certain amount of time, I think, before the money has. to be
No, they go
deposited.
every day or other day or whatever, depending on how much they have. I
But
get
a
it.
week, I mean, if you're talking about like a report, like just a quick trial balance or whatever,
Yeah.
just
Lisa-
say the ins and the outs like a.
Yeah, Lisa can
updated-
print that out every week for you.
I don't think you
the
need it every
general
week, I
ledger.
think bi-weekly.
Whenever we're doing we don't need to make it into a lot of extra work or a big deal.
Yeah.
But
Why not just get then a statement once a month?
because we,
We should be accepting the donation.
why can't we just do it like we do
No, no,
everything
we
else?
have to-
Well, Gary, we can't accept the donations because the money can't sit. We don't meet every week.
If it's a check, you
It
just
has
make
to
a
be-
copy of it and
has
throw it
a
in the
certain
folder.
amount of time It has to be deposited.
Right, but if I make a copy of it and you haven't accepted it, I have to hold the money until you accept it.
Yeah.
And so then we're gonna have
A whole
money
lot of
and checks
issues.
being held, sure, in a locked drawer, but 2 weeks until you guys look at it and accept it, then we do the whole process that we're doing now, make copies of it, get it to the bank, deposit it. And then on the general ledger, you'll see every entry and every expenditure, so.
Well,
I mean,
I
I
mean,
don't
as
have a
long as we
problem.
can see
I mean,
it,
who's-
so that if there is a question, it can be addressed.
who's responsible for that money? If it's missing, gone, stolen, used for some it's not, who's responsible for that?
Treasurer. Bonded.
The-
Yeah,
The
we're-
the
we're-
board's responsible. We're
Treasurer's
responsible for every dime that comes in and out of here, technically.
Those accounts are
Right?
open not by this board. Those accounts are opened by the treasurer.
Treasurer.
So the treasurer is responsible for it.
Which
not
we
the-
allowed them to open.
The treasurer does not ask us
Treasurer's
for
elected.
permission to open the board. It's an elected position.
Okay, so we're not responsible for a dime in this town. Why do we sign the manifest? Why do we sign payroll? Why do
We're
we do
not
anything?
Responsible for accounts opened by the treasurer.
Wow.
Okay, there's a huge difference.
Okay, well,
We
you're
are
making it into
responsible-
something bigger than
We
it
are
has to be.
Responsible for the general fund. We are responsible for the payroll fund. We are not responsible for the contribution funds because the treasurer opens those. She is the signatory on them. She is the one that is bonded. She is responsible for them, just like the town and tax clerk is responsible for her funds.
I
Who's
agree, Rick. I
responsible?
think it's, I think
Right. I
it's
mean,
fine that we
it's
should look
not-
at it. I'm
it's
not
not
saying we shouldn't
something
look
that
at
we-
it. I'm
yeah.
just saying if Karen can provide us with a report that we can go through.
And that's
and-
fine. That's
and then
fine. And then if
there's
we
any
see something in the
question, we
report,
can
then we can
question
go
it.
back and
Yeah.
get it or whatever. But
The general ledger every week.
the point is, we shouldn't have to look for the stuff. And we should just be told about it,
Well, if we
just
get
like
the-
everything
if
else.
we get the general ledger, then we should be able to see everything, right?
Keep in mind, we're going from it.
The donation comes in from someplace, it does not look good to us, or something goes wrong with it, we will be responsible for it then. When we get accepted. I just think that's all I'm saying. And we're gonna be responsible in the end.
But keep in mind, we're going from a former treasurer system to the new system, so it's being updated.
I mean, this is stuff that an auditor doesn't care about. As
The
long as the
auditor
numbers,
audits this every
yeah, but as
single
long
year.
as the numbers add up, they don't care where we get the money
No.
from or where it goes to. As long as it adds up
The auditor looks at all the accounts.
for the number accuracy of it. That's it. They don't care.
Yeah, they do,
You think they
actually.
care if we get a check for $5,000 from the church for the police fund? No, but that $5,000 has to be accounted for regardless of how he spends it or where he spends it.
Right, so.
They
would
don't
that
care
not be
where.
On the
Invoices?
report that you would give
Yes.
us?
You're missing the whole point.
How am I missing the whole point?
You don't even get it.
So we will, we'll see it.
Yes.
The deposit.
So-
I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
Not a single check is signed by the treasurer that does not have an invoice that has been approved by you or the treasurer, correct?
Correct. Neither the treasurer or myself, and I'm wear another hat as trustee of the trust fund for capital reserves, you cannot pay out without invoice.
Yeah.
So,
And that's kind of one of the other things I wanted to talk about as well. There's two, one thing was just being notified of what's coming in, what's going on.
Mhm.
The other one was, if somebody provides services on these accounts, let's say a paint job, a muffler service, anything. Those monies should be paid directly to the company that provided the services. We should not allow the department head, write the department head a check for him to cut a check to this company. Now, I understand that a place like Amazon or something like that, that you go into and you use your credit card and you got a receipt, that's fine. But if somebody provided services and fills out an invoice for the town of Barnstead, well, who it should be to, correct?
Right.
Then we should be paying them directly.
The only problem with that is we don't have credit cards, so the department heads don't have credit cards. We don't have accounts with every possible company in the world.
Right.
So if a department head, and we've done it with fire chief, police chief, probably parks and rec. I'm not sure if we've done it with highway, but if they need to purchase something and we don't have an account and we don't have a town credit card, they will purchase it with their own credit card or cash and get a receipt with the invoice of what they bought. And then they submit that for reimbursement. And we've always allowed that. Just as I said, we don't have credit cards for the department.
Okay, so what if chief goes down and gets a new exhaust put on, not one of the ice cream truck, okay?
Okay.
And we cut him a check to pay this guy that did the muffler. He goes and cashes the check and then doesn't pay the guy.
We don't give him a check until he comes back showing he's already paid the guy and has an invoice in hand. That's the only time we'd.
Well, he could
reimburse
have an
him.
invoice that it doesn't say
We don't
paid or
cut
anything
him a
on it.
check and say, go find somebody to pay this to. Right.
You don't have to wait. That means you have a thing. I would much rather not keep my own money, trust me.
Yep.
And have a credit card, with a maximum of $1,000.
It's not about you, chief, or how much money you've put in or how much you've paid out or anything. It has nothing to do with that. It's a precedent that you're setting. And if you rely on one of our department heads to pay somebody else for something and they don't pay them and it comes back to us, we have no recourse. We paid you. You gave us an invoice that said you paid $500 for it, but we don't know if you did or not.
Well, yes, but he has to show us the receipt that he paid. If he buys something on his credit card, we get a copy of his credit card
Yeah,
showing he
but there's some
actually
stuff in there that there's invoices in there that they don't say whether they're paid or not. They don't say, that they're completed.
Well, I think they do.
Well, it's not about the police department, okay? Please understand this. This is about all the departments.
Excuse me, the public is listening to a board that is directly
Right.
talking to a police chief
it is
about
not-
the
it is-
police chief.
Who's talking?
No, right? I am muted because I've had my hand up for a while. This is pretty routine.
We're not open to the
And right
public
now,
yet.
I'm sorry, but it is disgusting to watch.
Oh, that's. Priscilla.
I will get off now, but I'm just letting you know, I am disgusted.
I think it's Priscilla.
And Rick, some of the big issues that come up is when our department heads are going to classes. And if they go out of state and they typically grants are paying for hotels. If they go out of state and they have to stay somewhere for their workshops or
Like a
training,
hotel or something, they have a credit
we
card
don't
bill.
have a credit card. They have to put it on their own credit
I
card.
get it.
Then they come back with the slip. We see that, we get copies of the slip, we get copies of the invoice, we know where they stayed, we know if they ate anything, and then we
I get it.
reimburse them.
I get it. I get it totally.
So,
Same thing about the Amazon accounts. You go online, you buy something, they ship it direct, it's convenient, works. you got a receipt, says it's been paid for. I get it. Talking about things that we don't need to do that to, you know, the stuff, the services that are provided, they're, you know, the things we don't have to do that to, don't do.
So are you making a suggestion that we get a town credit card for the department heads to have? Because if you, I mean, that's your only solution.
No, I'm just suggesting that we have these companies invoice us and then we make the payment whenever possible. That's all I'm suggesting.
And, right, and we do. A lot of companies will not accept anything but credit cards now, and I think most people
So my
understand that
understanding
concept.
is if someone submits something for reimbursement, they give you a copy of the invoice showing the work done, as well as if they paid it themselves, a copy of the credit card receipt.
Yes.
That it's been paid.
That
That
is,
it's been paid, absolutely.
Just so we don't get into a situation where he says, she says, they got paid and they didn't.
No,
That's
I
legal
agree. You
fees
don't wanna
and
be in
everything
a
else.
Bad spot, but if they have, I mean, if we're not going the credit card route, if they have to pay for it themselves and they come back with a paid receipt that the money has been received
Mhm.
by the company,
Mhm.
then,
Then
and
it-
then we reimburse
Yeah.
the employee.
And
whoever
then,
it is.
and then whenever possible, have them invoice.
Well, right, I
you
mean,
know?
obviously, if
Right.
the company's willing to invoice us, that's the best way. I
Right.
agree, but sometimes that's not possible.
Right, and if it's a company that we're going to use for purchasing, they set up an account with us so that then they can invoice us and then we'll have
Right.
30 days
Some
to
that we're
pay.
gonna continue
So
to
we
use.
always try to do that too.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best way, obviously, but.
Okay. So are you gonna do statements or how do you want to do that? Like
Um,
bi-weekly or, you know, when we
Whenever
come in
you
and do the
meet-
manifest?
Right, whenever you meet, if the board does not want anything deposited until you look at it,
I don't know if
And
we can do
approve it?
that.
I don't know.
I don't think.
I
we can
think you
hold
should deposit it, do it, and we get a bi-weekly
get a
thing
copy
to
of
look
it,
at. So
and you-
if there's a question, we can ask. the
I,
question.
I, I agree with that.
that's fine, okay.
I
sure.
agree with that.
Yep.
We're not trying to make it more difficult. We're just trying to make it a better business plan than what we have because
Well,
we
and
have no idea what's going in and out of there.
I would hope that your employees that have been here a very long time, that you would trust that this town absolutely watches every penny. I mean, we've definitely had issues in the past. The employees go to workshops, we attend training, we make sure that we have 2 or 3 eyes so that, you know,
Basically,
your money is
learning from
protected.
past
I'm sure that-
practices, you
right.
put new controls in place.
I'm sure there's been situations in the past that we could have done a better job with monitoring or making sure that stuff like that didn't happen.
I think there was an incident many, many years ago, but it was taken care of. And since then, the protocols that are in place, I think you would find it very hard not to be able to account for everything.
And I
every penny.
believe also when our new treasurer, before she came on, they had the full, complete audit of all the accounts under the treasurer, am I correct?
Every year, right, the auditor has all the accounts, he pulls samples of every account, everything, whether it's town clerk, tax collector's office, APs, they do that. But when the treasurer left, then you have to have a complete audit of all her books done,
And that's
So-
exactly what they did.
and it's been absolutely done, so.
So that was something that was done just this past March.
Yes,
Well, I saw the audit report. It cares about numbers and numbers only. That's
Rick,
it.
if you, I just feel like your ha-ha is leading to something, so. I'd
It's
really
not
try
leading to anything.
Just be honest.
This
with
is
me.
an honest discussion.
Okay.
When nobody's defending anything or accusing anything of anybody.
Okay. Conversation's done. You moving on to miscellaneous now?
Yes.
Thanks.
And any miscellaneous items?
Well, under agenda review, what wasn't on here because I just received it today, I emailed the board just for the public to know that the paving is going to be moving forward. They're going to try their hardest to hopefully get someone out next week. And the first road, of course, will be Province.
Nice.
So I think the public would be very happy to know that, especially last week, we had some concerns of dust. So that should be moving along. And the road agent has all the information. We have been provided with the mix design. The road agent is going to have compaction tests done throughout the work so that everyone has an understanding of exactly what's in place.
Perfect.
Has everybody read the minutes? Do you want a motion on the minutes?
Okay.
Minutes?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Any public announcements?
I do.
That's some Parks and Rec things going on. Swimming lessons going on, going quite well. Garden group, the Parks and Rec guys started. They're really popular. A lot of people signed up to join, donate to the pool. And compost, I guess. People really stepped up to help out for that garden. I believe there was a couple of walkthroughs with the engineers on the parkscape. Don't know how that went. It's really happening. But it's apparently doing very well. Getting it in.
If I could, I got an email from Jennifer Blair. She was interested in the Old Home Day Committee. So I responded to that and just explained, the process. So hopefully, if enough people come forward, the Board of Selectmen will appoint people to the committee. And maybe next year we can have an Old Home Day.
Are we putting out a call for more volunteers?
I've explained to this person that, we could advertise on the website, that it takes quite a number of people to make it
Yeah, you can if you
successful.
want.
And that they'll want to start almost a year ahead of time to get
I
everything
mean,
done.
maybe with all the new people that have moved in, there might be some that
Mhm.
like to get involved.
And I've explained also that they have to come before the board. They have to come before the board to be appointed, and then as they meet, they have to follow all the protocols of advertising their meetings, taking the minutes. And then whatever their plan is, they have to bring it to the board to get approved. They'll have to set up for police and fire on the day of the event, and then everything just is coordinated, all the departments. So hopefully.
Was
we can
Jennifer
move forward.
Blair on this committee before?
I'm not sure if she was on there before or not. She's definitely interested.
Do you know how many people were on it before?
Hillary Henry was on it, but she has stepped down. So I thought I would look into some of the older or prior, not so much
How
older,
many people?
prior people that were on the committee. I know
Older.
Genevieve was on it, I think last year, or the year before.
Well, maybe
So-
3 or 5 or
Hopefully,
something like
well,
that.
Hopefully,
Or again,
a
if you
bunch
have
of
the
people.
newcomers
it's a
that
lot
might
of
be
work.
interested in it,
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
A lot of work.
getting their foot in the town.
And we have fireworks money that we've put away.
I mean, I know,
For
I
years.
see,
Oh, geez.
Barrington is doing a great job with their 300 coming up. I think it's this summer. Or is it
Oh,
next summer? You
nice.
just live in Barrington, but they're really advertising it. Did they already have it?
I don't even know where we do
Because they're
fireworks.
advertising it left and right.
I know, but
Yeah.
that lot's done.
Yeah.
Barrington, yeah.
I'm in here. Committee
I guess under
report.
miscellaneous,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, go ahead, Gary.
wanted to bring it for the board. Everybody's okay. We discussed the bandstand parade. It's in pretty rough shape. You know, Rick has gone down and looked it over, each roof. Steps are pretty bad, this and that. Rick went down and took a look at things, got up a price list, what it may cost to do it. I think he's got some people that are willing to help out with couple of days work. And I wanted to find out how I would go about this, if it's okay to, or I was gonna try to see if I could do some fundraising to get that taken care of. I think this price list was like 1,300 change, something like that, 1,400.
Some of the work really doesn't have to be done, but if we do it now while we're ripping it apart,
Mhm,
might as well.
mhm. Could have, no.
I know John Cotton's bought the last batch of shingles for it. Back when you were a kid, he said.
The church uses it on Sundays in the summer. The church uses it on Sundays in the summer. Outdoor services we're having, yes.
So you don't think we should fix it then? You should just let it rot? Is that what you're saying? Not my list, it's just a list. All right.
I think the main thing is that we all want it preserved.
I don't want to see it go anywhere.
No, as I said last time, I would
So if we
really
can
like to see us get it.
Repair it. we should
repaired.
Definitely repair it.
It definitely needs steps. I know that myself, so,
I'm gonna do public.
but I
input in
think
a
I
minute.
knew it needed shingles.
Go up
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
I wasn't
know.
there for the church service, but I
Yeah.
did go up for it.
Yeah, I missed you, Gary.
I can, oh, if you guys want to do this.
I know the church had mentioned helping out or doing something to help out.
Yeah, they're trying to get donations
Yeah,
towards
so.
helping fix it, yes.
Like I said, and we can do as much as we can get donated. You know, I mean, not like we gotta rebuild the thing,
No, right.
or whatever monies we get, that's what we'll put into it. We go for another
That's all I was looking for.
5, 10 years or whatever.
Do that,
Okay.
fundraise. You-
You have
Just have
a,
them, yeah. and have
something
them
in
send
mind,
the money.
Gary? Like, I'm just saying, where you
No,
just asking,
reaching out
people-
to
just reaching
people
out?
and-
Okay.
And yeah. and-
Yeah, okay.
Do you think you have the labor to?
It isn't a lot, to be honest with you. I mean, you're probably talking a day or two tops.
Couple of people.
Yeah, I mean, you get 2, 3 guys together, I'm sure something right out.
Okay.
It doesn't even all have to be done at once.
Yeah.
At a day, whatever, you know?
So we can figure out something between now and the next.
Yeah.
Because obviously we don't want to disturb it.
The
while
roof's
sun's
really the
on.
biggest, get somebody there, strip the roof and put a new one on it. Then the rest is whenever available,
Yeah, because I think the concerts are every week. There's 1 week in August. they
Except for
won't,
balloon
when
rally
it's The
weekend.
balloon
Yeah.
rally, but.
But it's only for another
Sunday.
4 weeks or something, right?
So you think it's maybe September to just
I think
do
it's,
the-
yeah, I think it's till the
Yeah.
middle of
That sounds
August, if I'm
good.
not
Yeah.
mistaken.
So
The
I think- I
concerts.
think the concerts only go,
So about the end of August.
you're
I
right.
think. Yeah,
So this
Yeah.
would be a September,
Project.
October, whatever, before it snows.
So
Great.
it-
Hope it's not snowing in
remember that we've
September.
had October snow.
All right. And I'm gonna,
We could get commitments if people want to donate, and then
Yep.
as the time draws closer in September,
Let's come out,
yeah,
okay, do this.
to get commitments,
And get it out there.
I would say so, sure.
We
And
put
just
it
have
on
them-
the, did we end up putting it on the website?
it hasn't gone up yet, but it will, I'll have it up tomorrow. And just make sure they send the monies here so that you guys can see it and approve it, make sure it's someone you want to take
The
money from.
town and outside of
here we go.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. No, but actually just have it, because you don't want to take money in
No, I
case
don't
you
want
lose it or
anything.
anything. Yeah, and then we can make copies of that and set it aside, designate it for the bandstand.
Well, I was gonna
So
say,
that
either
would
that,
be-
if you get the commitments when it
That's really
comes time
nice.
closer, if they want to just, you know, when it goes to go buying materials.
Yep.
Talk to Lowe's, talk to Home Depot, I mean, a lot of times
See
they'll
if they'll
donate the
donate.
materials. Because it's for our municipality and it's for, you know.
Yep.
Protecting a treasured resource for
Yeah,
the town,
there's
so.
a couple of things in the works,
Yeah.
but it's still gonna take some money,
Yeah.
you know.
And I'm gonna go ahead and open public input. Yeah, what time does that say?
I have something to say.
6:27?
I have something to say.
Please state your name.
Liz Kelly.
Okay, go ahead, Liz.
First of all, I know we lost Andrew, and I know our town hall people are trying their best on videos and stuff. But I gotta tell you tonight, our audio is,
Audio is what?
so even if we're in town money to have, the audio is terrible for this meeting. So even, I'm glad you think that's funny. You think everything's funny tonight, don't you? If we have any money in some fund that we could have somebody come in and help them and get this audio straightened out, I think it's really, really important. My second question is, Rick, do you have a reason, or have you seen a reason come up that you're so concerned about these donated funds?
No, I don't.
You seem awfully concerned, and to me, it's micromanaging. You
It's
have
not
a town,
micromanaging.
you have a town treasurer who is bonded, who is obviously overseeing all of this. Now, I can imagine a quarterly statement or something, but I think weekly reports on this are a little much. And you got to keep in mind, you're dealing with donated funds, not funds that belong to the town, donated to specific reasons. And you one passed who said, do you know how many hours you have to put in on this job? Well, you're making more work for yourself now. And like I said, I think you're micromanaging. And just my last note, I think you're directing this more at the police department than anything else.
Well, that's your opinion. You're entitled to it. Thank you.
Yes. People do.
Go ahead, Margaret.
Pris-
You should.
Priscilla. Oh,
That might be,
That's
part of the audio issue.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just a quick thing. I have donated to quite a few programs here, the library, Parks and Rec, the police department, and some other fundraisers that were done here. Some of mine are public, some of them have been anonymous, and some of them with large sums. I've helped out Baz, I've helped out other programs. I don't do these things anonymously so that then you can go and look at my check and see what I donated to.
Mhm.
So if you're going to look at things, I think a report is a better thing because I know a lot of people who donate anonymously don't want their names out there.
Mhm.
So,
And I can understand that. You know, and I think that's a good point.
yeah, so that's just something that I wanted to say about
Mhm.
looking at all of these things. If you see the checks, you know who wrote the check. And you're going to get less people who are willing to donate freely if they can't just donate it anonymously. I had my reasons for doing it. I didn't want certain people in the town questioning me, why are you donating? You know, what's your goal? What's your end goal?
Mhm.
So I did it, a lot of it anonymously. I mean, I give money to the BAS program for pizzas every week for the teenagers that come to the library. I mean, and I've donated other things to the library, and I just never put it out there. And I don't think that it should be something that the board has to see who the anonymous people are. That's just my personal feeling. Okay?
Yeah,
Are you trying to say you want to donate to the fans?
yeah, is that what you're saying?
If I can't do it anonymously, no.
I would just say, I agree, Mike. People should be able to donate anonymously without, I mean, I think there's not, I can't think of a reason why they shouldn't be able to. So there must be a way that we can accomplish that.
Well,
Hold on a second, Wayne. We got one more. I think
Okay.
Priscilla's trying to, come on.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Priscilla.
I guess you don't have anybody moderating this thing, huh? First, I want to ask, do you guys still meet with department heads once a month?
Well, they're supposed to come in and give us an update and stuff like that, but we only
Will
have,
you-
we have 2 meetings a month.
All right, because we met with department heads once a month, and like programs like you're talking about, Rick, they could give you an update then
Yeah,
of what was going on. But
you're absolutely
if-
right.
And I just forget that you guys meet every 2 weeks. That's, yeah. So the other thing I'm very worried about, and this has nothing to do with the police department, but where you have put out sign-on bonuses, which I think is totally necessary and should be done, your employees that have worked for you for a number of years start to feel very slighted. And there's an easy way to fix this. It's called longevity bonuses. You start with 5 years is a certain amount, 10 years, 15 years. You give these people the bonuses they need, maybe one in June and one in December, or one lump sum, whatever. But give your employees that have been your employees, your dedicated employees for all these years, something so they aren't feeling like, yep, again, a small raise and nothing else. Start thinking about longevity. And if anybody wants any help, I would gladly work on it with you. And that's all I have.
Can I answer that? Priscilla, that's exactly something that we are looking at when we review the pay matrix again, is longevity.
Oh, good, good.
It's hard to include it in with the pay matrix
Yeah, it would
when
be-
you're trying to
it would be-
develop one.
Yeah, it would be a separate,
It
it would be a separate non-cumulative stipend.
Because then you got people that are just off the charts.
Yeah.
Good point. Go ahead, Mr. Wayne.
First, I'd like to thank the board for giving me the opportunity to talk to you tonight. I have a major concern for a number of the people in this town. As we all know, that there's been a lot of theft in this town. And some of the people feel they're not getting enough attention of what's going on and an update of if there is anything active. I'm wondering if the board has any input to make people sleep better, because sooner or later, someone's going to get caught in somebody's yard and someone's going to get hurt. And people have gone to the chief and asked him about their property, and he says, fill out a report. The report has already been filled out. I don't understand why it takes so long to look into a matter. It's very distressing for people. I get the whole thing about the ice cream and the things, and it's important that the police department sends up a bond with the kids in the town. But that's not beneficial to the people that have stuff stolen from them. And one of the chief's comment was, well, it's material things that can be replaced. Well, if you're lucky, you might have house insurance. And the deductible is maybe $1,000. That's a lot of money for a lot of people. And a lot of people don't even have that insurance and it can't be replaced. The other issue is some of that stuff can be material things. And I know one of the issues of one of the things that was stolen was given by her dad, and her dad died a month ago. That can't be replaced. And there should have been some activity to go looking for this stuff. It would have been nice if there was a report put out on Facebook, because Paul does put stuff out there all the time, that to inform the people that they are working on it. And it would make things a little bit easier for the people that have had stuff stolen. I don't know if you have any input of anything that's going on. I know that some of the people who said, well, you can go to such and such a place and find my stuff. And there was people that saw stuff stolen at a certain address. I'm not going to go into that because of for liability reasons. You certainly don't want anybody's name or address put out here. But, and I won't do that. But the thing is that if stuff is down there, why can't somebody go down and get it? Or at least go down and ask them?
Mhm.
You know, I don't understand that.
I mean, it seems to me that things should be getting easier and easier with all the video cameras and, you know, everything else on everybody's house. I mean, I got them all over mine.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's difficult, I guess.
Yeah, because sooner or later, someone's going to get caught in somebody's yard. And then the police is going to be called and they can say, why did you shoot him 5 times? And he says, my clip only holds, 15 times, my clip only holds 15. You know, and it's going to happen. Because people getting pissed off. Right,
Oh, geez.
exactly.
All right.
All right. So you don't have.
Wayne, I guess the thing to do is make sure that when something is stolen, that there is something filed, and that there is people notified. And then, you know, obviously it's a follow-up after that.
Yeah.
I can't imagine spending all their time looking for stolen stuff, because that would be a full-time job for several officers, I'm sure. Because it seems like something's stolen every day around here.
Right. And, you know, it's distressing, and the people sitting at home that haven't had any information given, and all they see is a patrol officer going out and handing out ice cream coupons. It doesn't sit with them very well, you know, because they interpret things that nothing's being done. That may not be the case, but, you know, something needs to be addressed about it.
People be updated on things.
Yeah, I mean,
How
if
things are
there's,
proceeding, what they're doing.
if there's an active
Yeah.
process going on, put it out there so the people at least know that, you know, that the police department have their back, you know, that they're doing the best that they can. That's all I'm asking of people, you know? I don't think that's too difficult.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Excuse me, I have another comment. This is Liz Kelly.
Hold on 1 second, Liz. Or,
Chris Vertney. I'm hoping that the chief might give us a moment, because I'd like to follow up on what Wayne Whitney said. I've lived in a few towns in New Hampshire. And if you look back in history, the attitude that you just gave Wayne about, well, I really hope things get reported and be a full-time job. That was a comment that was made about 30 years ago in a town called Nashua. Probably a little bit earlier than that in a big city called Manchester, much, much bigger than us. Okay. But here's the bottom line. I heard about theft and I did some research, and I had people that called me that I know in not this town. And they said, hey, what's going on in Barnstead? And I hear it's tied to drugs. And the last thing this town wants to have is a reputation, like a lot of small towns do, that it's a haven where people go and get their drugs. And in order to get their drugs, you know what they do? They steal things. So I would hope the chief might address it. I'm not saying, not throwing the chief under the bus, nor throwing the bus, but we as a town need to take this seriously. Unless you want Barnstead to be known as a town where theft and drugs run rampant, because that is the next step. You can sit here and say, well, it's not a big problem. And I heard your comment, Ed, that was a really great comment too. Well, they'll never do it again about shooting somebody. Isn't that terrible that possibly that could happen in this town because some citizen gets pissed off and says, you stole my shit. And I go, excuse my French, and I go to you, and that guy pulls out a weapon, and then he's got to go clean it up, and his officers, which you don't want in this town. It's happened in other towns. Okay, my son works in Rochester. He is on a Narcan call at least 2 or 3 times every shift. Okay, that's Narcan. You know why? Because drugs run rampant in Rochester, bigger than us. Okay, but it's coming our way. Okay, it's happening a little bit in Alton, New Durham, Farmington for sure, Pittsfield definitely. Okay, and if you just want to be one of those towns and have that reputation, have for it. But you're not going to attract anybody coming here. You're not going to attract business if that's what you want, you know, so you can support the fire and the police and all the other great things. There's a lot of great things about this town. But me hearing about it third hand and then doing a little research, finding out it's happening. This needs to be nipped in the butt. It needs to be on your webpage. It needs to be, we have a no tolerance policy in this town. That should be all the time. Every meeting you should bring it up. Okay. And when you have concerned citizens like this who take the time to come out here and wait an hour and 45 minutes to tell you about probably the most important thing, nothing against the things you talked about tonight. This is the most important thing that's going on in your town right now. And you can't put your head in the sand, because if you do, it's not going to look good for the town long break. So before the next person, unless they wanted to talk about this, I would like to hear what the chief's thoughts are on it. I know he's been short-staffed, and I'm not saying that the chief is not.
What I will add to that is that some of the reasons that Barnstead has been such a great place to live in the past is because we worked as a community. If somebody saw something, or somebody lost something, or somebody got stolen something, somebody else ratted them out, you know, and this used to happen every single day. Okay, not so much anymore. Okay, that's why it gets worse and worse and worse. But the community as a whole should be part of this, should be participating in this, and should be helping everybody. That's not a reason or a defense or anything else, but it is in fact true. If you're not, I'm gonna.
My turn?
Hold
Oh,
on a
go
second,
ahead,
Liz.
Chief.
Chief's
Go
gonna
ahead.
speak.
Okay, I'm not gonna
Okay.
discuss any active investigations, whether they involve thefts, robbery. I will talk about an investigation that we just completed, an armed robbery that took quite a bit of manpower crime line, which we belong to. I mean, the caller tipped us off on that, as well as some other additional information. Again, we're a small department. We have to prioritize what we do. We're out there doing directed patrols every night. And we're also, trying to do the community service role as well. When you see us out there handing out ice cream, coupons and things like that. So for an agency our size, I think we do an awesome job. I think we've got a good staff right now. We've got the board support, and that's what I can say about that. But if anybody's got any questions as far as where their case stands, reach out to us. We can't make something out of nothing. If you report to us that you had a piece of property stolen, you don't have a VIN number, you don't have any identification marks on the piece of property, how do you want us to find it? You don't supply us with any photographs, things like that. Those cases are hard to develop and hard to make. I would ask everybody, I would urge everybody in the community, if you have a piece of property, please take photographs of it. If it's of value to you, take photographs, recent photographs of it. Document the vehicle identification number or the serial number so that you have it in case it does get stolen, and then we have something to work with when you come and report it to us. We're out there every night. My officers are out there at nighttime doing directed patrols out in the neighborhoods. And again, we can't catch everybody, but if you see something suspicious at nighttime or anytime, please call us. Don't hesitate. Don't call us the next day. Call us right away.
Thank you, Chief. Is Liz still on? Does she still want to
Hello?
speak?
I'm here. I'm here.
Go ahead, Liz.
I know from being involved in police work years ago, there can't be a lot of information given out on an active investigation. As far as the ice cream cards that everybody seems to be up in arms over, I know when my kids were in school, in high school, you could find a lot out from some kids, and making a relationship with these kids, you may find out a lot of information in the future. So for the little time these officers take to hand out ice cream cards, I don't think is a big deal. As far as a drug issue in this town has had a drug issue for at least 30 years. Okay. And I can tell you that positively. Every town has a drug issue. It's not just the big towns. It's every town now. And I do believe we're keeping on top of it, because I know there's been arrests, but I just don't think, it's nobody's fault. And like the chief said, he's had a shortage of officers. He's rebuilding the department. As far as putting stuff out there online, I seem to remember back when he was on administrative leave, and when he came back, there was a stipulation or some kind of talk from the selectmen that he'd like him to put less out there. And I can find the information on it if you want it. So if the chief is not putting a lot of information out there, then maybe the board has quieted him down. But, we do have a drug issue in this town. Everybody does. These small petty thefts, yep, they're usually over drug issues, over, for drug money. So I understand everybody's upset, and I'd be upset too if I'd had things stolen. But I really don't think it's the fault of our police department or the fault of anybody at this point. We all just need to report what we see. Of course it did. So maybe we should relook at how, what the chief can put out there online. Yes, we're looking for this or we're looking for that or whatever. But for Mr. Fruitney to say that we don't want to
Federal, state, local, state police, sheriffs, they're welcome to come in and patrol our town to help us anytime they want. But they don't have jurisdiction. The Barnstead Police does, but they're welcome to come in anytime.
Great. Thank you, Chief. All right, all right. All right, how we doing online? We all set online? All right, I'm gonna close public input real quick. At 6:57 or whatever it is, you can't see it from here without twisting my neck. Phew. All right,
Do we have another non-public?
I'll take another, no, I don't think we do. We don't have another non-public,
Motion to
right?
adjourn.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Ed?
Aye.
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 Ed.
No, we're done. We're done.
You can speak whatever you want now.
Come on, Chief.
Oh, we're